Welcome back. You are here with our Master J, and today we are doing a comic book review of Joe Frankenstein Part 1 from Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon. This is a republishing of a story they had with IDW back in the mid-2010s-ish time frame. They got ownership now under Compass Comics, and we're reviewing it. Baseline plot is Victor Frankenstein. Mr. Frankenstein himself creates Frankenstein's monster, to which doesn't go over so well in just the grand scheme of things, right? He kind of understands he's a monster. He doesn't necessarily want to be with what he is. Victor Frankenstein also creates a better version of a Frankenstein monster, but it's a female who looks proper. She does not look like a patched together piece of junk. But you come to find out that the original Frankenstein monster does have pretty much immortality. After kind of killing Victor, he doesn't have what it takes to kill Victor, baby, and pretty much goes on a spiritual pilgrimage, meeting a priest, and decides he's going to be the protector of the Frankenstein lineage. So many a century go by. He protects that Frankenstein lineage, creates wealth through means. he creates his personal wealth and a business wealth that he owns. And then the main body of the story, after kind of that intro of how we got here, is the story of him protecting Joe Frankenstein, the last living descendant of the Frankenstein lineage, who unfortunately, due to his parents being killed in a plane crash, Joe accidentally delivers pizzas to a bunch of vampire ladies who want to eat him. And then pretty much Frankenstein's monster jumps in, protects him, and now they are on pretty much the run to protect Joe and any remaining family that he has from the evil Frankenstein's monster's mistress. Not exactly sure what we call her just yet, but he's got to protect Joe from them because she wants to get Joe or Frankenstein's monster because they have the blood of immortality, which she does not have. Monster takes Joe Frankenstein under his wing, protect his, go save his foster family from obviously impending doom, and keeps himself on the run from the evil being that is Lady Frankenstein monster. Now, I enjoyed the artwork. Graham did a great job with it. I actually love how much is going on a lot of pages. There's some pages where there's a lot of panels, and it seems like it would almost be too much, but it still flows very well. Obviously, very seasoned veteran in this. I also like to share kind of one of my favorite pages or panels from the book as well, and this one's my favorite. I just kind of like the tone, the way the vampires are kind of crawling around, how this interaction goes. I like how the muscle for Mrs. Frankenstein's monster is just there, and I even like how they actually accounted for the kickback of the gun with where the flame of the gun is to where the barrel is currently. I like how it shoots from like kind of a down angle shot into the silhouette of him actually shooting the vampires. Just cool panel and 2 pages here that I wanted to share as well. There was one drawing error that caught me reading it live, was when Joe shows up to deliver that pizza to the vampire ladies that aren't vampire ladies yet. There's the lady right in the front with the black outfit, very high boots, little booty shorts, and kind of like a crop top button up thing. And then 2 pages later, she has fishnets on with her boots. And for some reason, I don't know why I immediately caught that. I was like, she wasn't wearing fishnets. And lo and behold, she wasn't. So one minor inconsistency with the art. There could be 1 or 2 other things like lingering in the book, but I was not scouring the books to try and find every little thing that might have been a mistake. But that one did just happen to catch my eye on the front end. The story itself, very fast paced, keeps it moving, dropping you a lot of information, but it never does feel completely expositional. Obviously, there's a little bit of exposition in the front end when they're kind of given the background, but even that is through the events, so they're giving this information through the events of the thing. The one thing this book does kind of have you do is it does force you to suspend disbelief quite a bit, because the idea that a very large, like I think they kind of reference him being like almost 10 feet, but let's just say on a good day, he's 8 feet, an 8 feet tall Frankenstein's monster has been able to, 1, stay hidden, create a major corporation of business that he can just travel the world whenever he wants, which means he has to have some sort of passport, of something. He has to have some sort of citizenship. He's lived for 1,000 years. I realize he can recreate it, but he also doesn't look like a person. He's an 8 foot tall monster. Obviously, there would also have to be a ton of people that he can trust to take him on these flights and things of that nature, but that's not ever really addressed. Also, he's been protecting this lineage of people for eons, which is narrowed down, unfortunately, to one Joe Frankenstein. And in all these years, he never had a issue where he had to step in, nor was he ever apparently noticed, even though he's been following and tracking these people at all times. Because he was just happened to be tracking Joe like he would, I guess, normally do. And he just happened to be attacked, and he happened to be there to intervene. What happens if there was like 6 Frankensteins left? Well, obviously he would only be able to follow one. So if this happened to one, they would just be dead. I guess because it is the last one, there's a little bit more emphasis that he has to make sure that this one stays safe. But I also find it hard that an 8-foot person would just go unnoticed for an extremely long period of time. So there's a little bit, while I was reading the story, that kind of like was in the back of my head. I'm like, does this really work? But outside of that kind of suspension of disbelief, right? We are in a monster universe and things of that nature. Definitely a very fun story, very fun read. I'm definitely excited for part 2 to see how it comes through. The villain's neat because I don't think I've heard a Frankenstein story where there's actually 2 monsters and the other one actually becomes more or less good and the other one's evil, and the other one wants to actually destroy the lineage or kind of extract the essence of the lineage, while also having all the kind of other monsters in play, vampires, reincarnated clones, things of that nature. So really fun read. I am excited to see what part 2 brings. I'm kind of excited to see how the Nolanverse does expand into some of these other monster universes. I have his new book on order. The Montecuda Key. I'm always saying that damn thing wrong. And I would like to get some of his backstories, but right now they're a little too expensive. I'm hoping they might go digital here in a little bit, so they can kind of be a little bit more affordable, procure to read and actually review as part of the whole kind of monster universe that he is building. So with that, I am going to go ahead and give Mr. Joe Frankenstein a 7 out of 10. You have to disconnect the disbelief, I think, on the front end of how some of those mechanics work, but really fun story, very well paced, a lot of fun artwork. And just a fun, good read overall. What did you think about Joe Frankenstein Part 1? Did you enjoy it? Any other comments or critiques that you have, leave them in the comments below. But other than that, have a fantastic rest of your evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are on this crazy world. And as always, GG's everybody. GG's.